probably me. There we go. Okay, fellow Beastians, this is your one and only Gaming Beast, and today we have an interesting topic because I'm about to do something I wanted to do on YouTube for a long time, and I thought the time of tag videos was over, but they kind of, because the whole how you say response system was removed a long time ago, and I thought with that people wouldn't bother with tag videos, but they still do them, and it hasn't stopped anybody. And I'm doing a tag video in general, focused for the RPG communities that I'm a part of, and in general, if you wanna, participate, of course I will tag people. And but anyway, let's start. The tag video's title is 5 RPG Facts About Me. Now, those are RPG facts that are not necessarily known. I might have mentioned something like that on one of the many podcasts I've been on, or something like that, But yeah, it's just something I want to get rolling to get the community just going, like the RPG One Shot group, the Brigade, of course, and also now the Wild West, the one from Andrew Knapp, which I find very interesting and fresh and new, and we'll see what will continue to happen there. But in general, these are the 5 facts about me that are not necessarily known to you guys. So, and I apologize up front. I'm quite tired, but I wanted to get this video out because I felt like I wanted to do it. I was inspired, so I'm going to do it. And yeah, so let's go. Okay, number 1, I have never played a World of Darkness game yet. Now, I have played the video game Vampire the Masquerade, the first one, quite a bit. I haven't finished it. I haven't even gotten to the modern age yet. I was still in the medieval times. But what I played of it, I really liked, and I liked the concepts. And I have watched videos from guys like, of course, who's one of the guys, of course, the Gentleman Gamer. As I said, I'm tired. But of course, I watched a lot of his videos about vampire and werewolf, and of course also Hammered Shitsteak, when he did a lot of videos on werewolf, the apocalypse, and the different expansions. Like, I remember one of it was like a game he wanted to play, and it was a shark game, a were-shark game, and I think doing a were-shark game would be fucking awesome, because that's just like Ultra Beast level awesome. And it's like an old video game on the Mega Drive. But anyway, I'm again going into tangents as usual. So I haven't played a World of Darkness game yet, and I've been trying to get into the live games, but my characters haven't been accepted yet because for some reason, the first one I made him too powerful for the game, and but now this one I just haven't. I think I haven't put in certain elements in there for the character because honestly I wanted to leave those. I didn't thought that they would be important to the game. Like I thought that, but I might try to film out again. I'm not saying anything about the live game, the live YouTube RPG thing game, but I think for me maybe it would be better if I would play a proper game. And people have offered to me to run a game. Of course, Alex Swingle has offered, and we'll probably that's how I'm going to probably first play my first game. I know Alex Swingle quite a long time now, and I played games that he ran. I ran games where he played in, and we have an understanding what we like and we don't like. I mean, we are good friends, so it works. But who knows? Like I'd like to sink my teeth into a vampire game or into a werewolf game, but I didn't have the chance yet. But yeah, I hope the closest thing I got to was actually the Gentleman's Gamer Bioshock game, one-shot Bioshock game, where he basically used the system, the storyteller system, and made a Bioshock system out of it. So I could play the game because it isn't really that hard once you get the concept of you take the number of dice of your attribute and then the number of dice of your skills, and whatever extra dice you have, and then you roll, and then certain dice numbers are successes and certain are misses, and you need so many successes for actions. That's a pretty cool system. I like it. And instead of like the blood magic that you have in Vampire, you had like the Bioshock powers, the Adams or Eves or whatever they are called. But anyway, it's neither here nor there. So this is the closest thing I played to a Bioshock game, to a World of Darkness game. As I said, I'm tired. I apologize. The second fact about me is that, and I'm reading from my screen, but whatever. I haven't played an RPG game yet that wasn't online. So I haven't played a game, like a role-playing game in real life with people in front of me, because I consider also online real life, but that I didn't play with people around the globe online in over 3 years. So basically, the last game with real life people that I played, proper game, was in I'd say about 2012, let's say 2011, something like that. And it's over 3 years, more actually now, like 4 years, pretty crazy. And why is that? I've been living here in Germany ever since, and I don't know, I have found a couple of people who are into RPGs, but we never became really friends. So it was like, and some of them said, oh yeah, I used to play RPGs, but now I play video games. And I've become a little bit tired trying to convince people or trying to introduce people to RPGs, because also I feel like it's just more convenient for me, and I don't really have the time to, like, the friends that I do hang out with in real life, a lot of them, they haven't played RPGs, or they don't play RPGs anymore, and they're not interested in them, you know. We'd rather just play a video game or something in online mode, and that's fine. But, you know, although one has said interest possibly to play a game again, and it's very different with like I played my, like, there's a lot of people say, oh, I played role-playing game for 30 years. That's something that Andrew said, and Andrew Knapp said in one of the hangout videos from Juice, and where he's just joking about the veterans and whatever. And I can't say that about myself. I mean, my RPG record is spotty at best. I mean, I played when I was a little kid in the late 80s and early 90s with my brother. It was the typical, he was playing with his friend and I wanted to play, but they didn't let me because I was too little, and I would annoy them and prank them. I would mostly just annoy them, and eventually let me play. And because my brother is cool, whatever. It was just, you know, we were kids. And because I played Hero Quest, and Hero Quest was cool, but I wanted to get to the Dark Eye because that was like the real RPG. And then we actually played, and it was really fun. And like I was sent through the typical dungeons, died many times. I was turned into a zombie. I was turned into a werewolf. I played dwarves. I played a Shelm, which is like a Harlequin type mage, but it's been so long. I got to think about those stories before I really get into them. But anyway, then after that, there was, for one reason or I don't remember, we stopped playing role-playing games. I think we got more interested in video games and other stuff, and RPG. And I think we sold our RPG stuff or gave it away or something like that. We had a ton of stuff. It was pretty much exclusively the Dark Eye, because we didn't know about D&D or any other things, because I'm sure they were out there, but we didn't notice them because Dark Eye was it was the dominant one at the time, and still kind of is in Germany. It still is, actually, now that they're coming out with a new edition. But the point is that after that, for many years, I haven't played role-playing games. And when I moved to Hungary and in high school, just before that, in Germany, I bought again the 3rd edition box set for the Dark Eye, and because we played 2nd edition Dark Eye and we played 3rd edition, and this was like semi-updated 3rd edition or something. I don't know, something like that. Maybe 3.5. I'm not quite sure, but it was pretty much 3rd edition. And I got some other books for it and like another boxes. And I played with some of my friends. I played with my cousin, and with both my cousins, we played quite a few games. But it was like um, we had some good games here and there, and then it kind of just faded away. And it was a fun time, but it was like not very consistent. Where we would play a couple of games, then we stop, and then we play again, and we stop. So it wasn't like the weekly game. And then I played with some people in my high school dorm, and that was fun because they played other role-playing games that I participated in, like the Hungarian RPG Magus that I talked about. And I also played Shadowrun, only one session though, sadly, and I didn't even get to fight or anything because the entire session was derailed. But I'll talk about this in another video. And yeah, the Dark Eye was pretty much, it was a cool game. And then, but what happened was that I moved. Then again, I didn't lost interest. I always wanted to play more, run more games, but it was very sporadic. And then other things were more important, like going to parties, dating girls, meeting new people. It was basically being a teenager, young adult kind of stuff, So figuring all these cool things were more, I guess, cool. And also, of course, PC gaming, of course, because I was long since then. I moved from the Super Nintendo to the PC with my brother together, and that was a thing. And it was very it was very hip, and role playing existed, yeah, but it I don't know, it just not that it was hip or not. It was just like, it was like, I remember I was still kind of embarrassed to play role playing games, so I kind of like that was one of the things where I stopped really trying to get my other friends to do role playing because they didn't really get it, and it was this kind of peer pressure. They're good guys, but it's being a teenager in high school, right? Anyway, so when I went to college, I really wanted to play role-playing games again. Specifically, I wanted to play GURPS because I got the basic book for GURPS, and I loved it. I fell in love with it. I fell in love with it that it's so free and so generic, and you can do anything. And I want to do all these crazy stories and awesome stories. And I put out a paper, to find players from my RPG club. That's how I called it, the RPG club. And I had one response. One guy came, and he was a very nerdy. He was like the nerd of the nerds kind of thing, like typical glasses and stuff. But I don't judge. I'm a nerd too. And but he was also like, I talked to him, and he said, "Well, I don't like to play these generic games. I only play fantasy and so stuff like that." And he was talking about 3.5. That was the game at the time. And fourth edition hasn't come out yet. And but he actually recommended another person that I've become really good friends with, that I'm friends with to this day. And his nickname is Bites. And we had a great time in college playing GURPS. And then eventually he also introduced me to 3.5, his version of 3.5, which was basically, he's rewritten the rules more or less, from the ground up. And the thing is that it was a very narrative and dialogue and character-driven game with a lot of surrealist insanity going on left and right. So it was quite interesting. And also, that's how our GURPS games went often. Like, we had combat. Like, I was more the guy that I would have combat. Not only, I would have also storylines and stuff, but I wanted to, because we mostly played fantasy still. We had some games here and there that were different. But I always went also with what people want to play. And fantasy was just very popular, like it is now. And yeah, but still, even just you go with fantasy and GURPS, you still have so many options you can do, and it's pretty sweet. Anyway, so again, going on tangents here. This is, I guess, a little bit longer video, but yeah, I haven't played a game with actual people in quite some time, but I don't mind it. It's just really convenient to sit down on the computer and find people, exactly the type of people you want to play with and play, because not only do you need to find people that want to role play, it's not necessarily, you got to kind of adapt and find a compromise taste. Now, I'm thinking of still, in the near future, if time allows it for me, to find a group whom I can play or DM a real life group. And there's some possibilities, but we'll see. Yeah. That was number 2. Geez, I'm only at number 2. Let's speed this up. Number 3, I don't think power gaming, or aka min-maxing, and I don't think that even those two words are the same thing. I'd rather say min-maxing is necessarily bad. Hear me out. Min-maxing is the ability to look at the possibilities, the potential of your character, and then focusing your character to the max potential of some sort. And usually people think fighting, but you can also min-max a character to being a suave talker. And for me, min-maxing is anything, really, if you make a character and you focus them on a certain ability, like being diplomatic, combat, magic, types of different magic, or just I don't know, anything really. If you think, sneaking, stuff like that. And people scoff at it many times, but if you think about it, it is useful in many games, and certain games you got to play them like that. Like Alex Swingle once said, Dungeons and Dragons 3.5, if you play it straight from the book, everybody's got to min-max the shit out of their characters, and I agree. Now, if you modify the game and you balance out the enemies and the stuff, that's a different case. But the point is that 5.0 is better at that, and that shows also that the system supports more role playing. And GURPS also, you can min-max very easily. You can power game means you want to try to get away with as much ability as possible. And then the level above that, I would say, is God modding, where you're trying to take control of the game. But that's just, I think min-maxing can be good, and you don't have to min-max just on combat. And the thing is, though, that people nowadays like to make not the uber powerful characters with flaws, it's fun to play weaker characters. I mean, I'm playing now Groy Fitzgalahax in the Rifts game, who is kind of like a Ferengi. He's like this interdimensional. He's from another planet, and he's from this trader race, and he's kind of hilarious. Well, at least I think he is. The idea, the concept, and the picture. Not that, I know it sounded super humble. I didn't mean to say that. I just like I like the idea and the picture of the character. However I play him, that's another thing that you have to be the judge of that. But anyway, again, a little bit tired here. But yeah, min-maxing is not a bad thing necessarily. It depends on the game, and I consider power gaming is when you're trying to get away with shit, like in favor of power, which is a bigger issue, especially because it often it's a borderlining on cheating. At least that's how I see the definition of power gaming. And then min-maxing is just when you build your character in a certain way to focus on a certain ability. Usually people consider combat, and then they make the typical combat monster, or the one spell Johnny who does the spell, but the spell is devastating or some shit like that. It's all about balance, You can, and you people, what, min-maxing with balance? How does that work? No, you can build a character who is good for combat, but then you can throw in a flaw. And the thing about GURPS is it's so easy to do, where in D&D it's possible, but it's a little bit more finicky and a little bit more rigid, even 5.0. Although 5.0 is pretty sweet, I'll say. And it does eliminate a lot of the min-maxing issues, that because it's got its place, I think. Now I know that there's people out there who are more into the storyteller and the actor type games, method actor type games, and I'm into those too. But what, like for example, if you want to play a Scythian archer from the past, like a Mongol archer or something, and you're gonna put in points into archery, and you're gonna put in abilities into horseback riding, because he's been like riding horse before he's walking. So you're gonna min-max these abilities. Now, other abilities you're gonna take away. So, and that's basically, in many ways, what you can do is min-max the character, and then if the DM doesn't like it, then you can balance him out. Now, it's a way of doing a character, but in general, I think certain games min-maxing is not bad, and certain games min-maxing is required, like 3.5 Rifts, these high-powered games usually. Okay, but that's just a opinion. And there's other games where I think min-maxing power gaming is not really appropriate, because I don't know, like Call of Cthulhu, very story-driven game, is not about you having a lot of powers and weapons. It's about exploring a story or stuff like that. Or like Paranoia, the game is about, you don't even really create your character. It's a very weird game. Or like Fate, like Fate, I don't think is really, because it's so rules light too. It's very much about story and acting and whatever, from what I've seen, and that does make that, Fate is in that sense, it focuses on that. And I'm sure you could power game Fate too, because really I believe the less defined rules are, the more there is. Although I gotta step back from that, because I gotta think that over a little bit, because what style of rules is more open for power gaming? Because the rules are less defined and there's less of them, you can just bullshit your way more successfully. Whereas in more complex games, you need to actually find the right connections in the rules, especially if the DM is a very big rules lawyer. Anyway, number 4. Sometimes a classic hack and slash dungeon crawl is the best way to let off some steam as a DM or a player. And I know there's a lot of people who, they scoff at the murder hobo, they scoff at the dungeon crawler, they scoff at meeting at the tavern. But believe me, sometimes if you are a DM and I love being creative, I love doing weird stuff, and I haven't done this yet so much with the games I've run, but I want to change that too. But I do enjoy a classic game of you meet up in the tavern, you go on a dungeon quest basically, and go for it. Does it have to end in the dungeon? No, not at all. The game can continue in any way directions, but it's a nice way to start, because it's especially for introducing players, because the dungeon is also and also for first-time DMs, it's a limited area. It's an area where you can design easily. All you need is graph paper, although there's really fancy design tools and everything, but all you need is graph paper and a pen, the classic way, and then go for it. And there's also people just wing a dungeon. You can do that. I've done that. I've randomly generated dungeons. I have neatly designed dungeons, and there is kind of like Tim Harper a lot of times said about the mega dungeon and everything. It's really cool to create this kind of abstract place, because a dungeon officially was just a kind of a hole, kind of a jail where they would throw people in. But in D&D, it became basically this jail, had like other corridors, and you would escape from it. But there was monsters in it and traps to keep the people inside, or something like that. But it's in role-playing terms, it's basically a level, that you can explore with traps, with monsters, with riddles. The very basic, very, classic way of gaming, of role playing. Now, I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but for me, as a player, I like to just go in and just, do some hack and slash stuff. I will always do role playing. Role playing will always be a part, but it's going to be more focused, and maybe more simplistic, or maybe more 1 or 2 dimensional. And it's not everybody's cup of tea. Same way how in general I'm saying that sometimes a good old fight, a game where there's fighting involved, lots of fighting, or one big fight, those can be fun. It's like when you played a complex point and click adventure or a complex role playing game on the PC. Sometimes you just want to play a shooter or a fighting game or a platform, something where it's a simple action game that you can just play without thinking too much. And that's what the hack and slash and superhero, the very simple superhero beat 'em, like superhero games, where you just, there's a villain, you're the heroes, your stats, go fight him, basically, say quips, but I know this is not everybody's cup of tea. But sometimes I think Action Hero Fighter is all about this just testosterone insanity, basically. There we go. That's what it is. And it's a parody of that, but it's also like people enjoy just doing that. And it's also, I'm always trying to keep it low rules, because rules can get in the way, but also a complex, crunchy game. I don't have, again, I'm going off tangents. I'm going to finish with my last one, and I'm going to say the 5 people I tagged, because this video is getting pretty long. So, number 5, and this one is really important to me, that I have met some of my best friends through the hobby, and I'm not exaggerating this. And if I haven't met them, it has strengthened other friendships, and it has been a hobby that I've enjoyed and that I always want to do. And I'm in my 30s now, and I'm still doing it. I'm doing it more than I have and pretty much ever, and I'm doing it the way that I want, with the people that I want. I'm running games, I'm playing in games, and I'm having great experiences. Some are more than others, but I enjoy them, and I'm grateful for DMs taking the time running a game, because it's intimidating to run a game. And sometimes I feel like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, sometimes I feel like, man, I don't want to disappoint anyone, but sometimes you just gotta go with it, and everybody has that feeling, I'm sure, sometimes where you like, I really want to make a great challenge, I really want to make a great storyline, really want to make a great NPC, but it's just like more and more I'm accepting I'm not in total control of the game. But anyway, back to the friends thing. You guys know who you are, it's Alex Swingle, Heather, Andre, Jennifer, even Retro Kaiser, Critical Failure. We have, Fox, of course, Juice, Andrew Knapp. We have Fauntrodden. The entire one-shot group, the entire brigade, Robert Ogre, AJ, all these great people I've met, and that's what I really like about this hobby. It's funny because it's one of the nerdiest hobbies out there. All people who don't know about role-playing games, they make fun of it and stuff, and some of the jokes are really funny. I can laugh about any parody that is good and enjoyable and makes fun of it, because we know those situations. We've been there. But it's also so much more than that simple stereotype, and it is social. It's the nerdiest game, but it's also one of the most social games, because it is also, in my opinion, a board game in one part, and it's also freeform acting, and it's also just a social experience. It's also storytelling, collective storytelling, but it's also having characters, rolling the dice, and it's all of these things. And certain games are one or more than the other, but it's all these things, and it's a social experience, and you can meet so many great people. And that's also the reason why I do this tag thing. And I know it sounds a little bit corny to end on this thing, but it is very important to me because I had times where I was really depressed, and I'm going to come out with this. I didn't feel good, and you know, it might sound silly, but sometimes just playing a role-playing game with friends, or running even a game or something, and having such great times, such great laughs, such great memories, really, really gave me again this boost that I needed, because sometimes you get this person, usually you're not affected by it, but you had a bad day and they say something, and you're just in the situation where it's a long story. I don't want to get into it, but it's very special to me. That's what I'm saying, and that's why I'm going to stop here. And I'd like to tag 5 people, and I wanted to tag a bunch more people, but I had to limit it to 5, and I'm going to do 5 people who I've met through basically all these role-playing hangout groups that I have enjoyed, and people who I have played with, who have DM'd games for me, and or I have DM'd games for them. Either way, we had a good time. And there's much more people I want to tag, but I wanted to keep it classical. 5 tags, like 5 facts, and then 5 tags. So we got, of course, Alex Swingle, 6 Hells of Fury, and check out his YouTube. And yeah, Alex Swingle, you have been tagged. SR2 Joker or Andrew Knapp. It's going to be in this. His YouTube is also going to be in the description. Alex does all kinds of videos too, also RPG related and nerd related, and just in general stuff. SR2 Joker does a lot of role-playing related stuff, really good stuff, and he does the gift game. He does all kinds of stuff, and relating to role-playing games. I'm just going to go quickly. Robert Ogre, really great guy. I had really fun in the games that he ran, and we really need to get. I really want to play with you. I want to run a game where you play, Robert, and because I want to kind of because you run a game for me, and I want to kind of give it back, in a sense. And AJ Picket, has. I had so much fun with the games that he ran, and I know sometimes my characters can be a little bit obnoxious, but it's because I have so much fun playing a character, and I just like to play an unapologetic character. It's just something that I like to do in recent times, and I can do other stuff too. But it's just something fun, and I'm so grateful for DMs who just run with it and have a great situation and a great time, and other players who then play with me, and everybody's doing their crazy shit, and it's a great time. So AJ Pickett, also I'm tagging you. And Michael Barker, of course. Michael Barker has ran the great, basically the first, one of the first 5th edition games I played, and which was the Footprints of Ankea, or the famous longest running one-shot. And yeah, to be a better game master. And you know what? I want to be a better game master, and I think he wants to be, and I want that everybody of us becomes a better game master, a better player, a better person. And so you guys have been tagged, and yeah, really appreciate. And then when you make the video, don't forget to tag 5 more, and let's spread this around, okay? And yeah, so thanks for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, for the Death Mug of Doom, and let me see here. There we go. For Death Mug of Doom, fellow Beastians, and I wish you a great day. And yeah, and happy gaming.